I also want to talk a bit about one of the biggest players in this space, which is CSPs or carriers. How are they looking at private 5G network, and should they look into it?
They absolutely should. No question in my mind. I think it's a new world for them. And the best analogy that I could provide, that's very familiar to me, is I'm a almost 14-year veteran of my time at Microsoft, really enjoyed everything I learned there. And I saw Microsoft go through a pretty significant transition where it was taking its on-prem products and converting them into services. So, Windows Server to Azure, or the Exchange Server to Office 365 as an example. It wasn't just a transformation of the products into these new now cloud-enabled services, all multi-tenant and everything else. It was a fundamental culture change for Microsoft, and it fundamentally changed how we sold products and how we approached our enterprise customers at the time, and still do. And I think CSPs or service providers are in that same world. They're very comfortable with the business model today to put SIM cards into devices, mobile phones, vehicles, IoT devices, and such. When you step into this world of edge, and more importantly, maybe even exposing some of your network capabilities to developers, that's a whole new world. And I don't think, my personal opinion, they've really gotten there and embraced what that capability means just yet. On the private cellular network side, we've seen endless FCC auctions and similar auctions for spectrums around the world, where CSPs or service providers are spending literally billions of dollars buying spectrum for use by their consumer customers. I think they're sitting on a gold mine, where a lot of those markets do support a number of enterprises. And so I think there's really interesting business models that the service provider world should be looking at, not just in standing up these private networks for enterprises, what that could mean as relatable services that expose more of their network capabilities beyond private cellular networks. I'll give you an example of that. Let's say there's a large logistics provider here in the United States or anywhere else in the world that happens to have, for one of its distribution centers, a private cellular network. Well, it's one thing to enable all the connectivity inside that warehouse and in the trucks, but what happens when those trucks or the goods from that warehouse or distribution center are moving out into its next destination? Well, that's a seamless opportunity for the carrier, not just to provide the private enterprise networking capabilities for that distributor in that one location, but also now to basically meld together their public network to these private networks, so that you have this consistent, persistent connectivity to those devices, and the computing capabilities as well that would demand, that would be demanded in certain use cases as well. That's where the model changes, right? So from my standpoint, I think the service providers are sitting on a goldmine of opportunity in this highly connected world that they operate in today. There's an opportunity for them to actually play a bigger role in where the software ecosystem is and where it's going. They really haven't played at a great depths like the cloud providers have. And I think 5G is the turning point where they could really start to explore that. We don't know what all the answers are. So we created a startup program and surrounded it with a number of amazing technology and service provider partners, so we can learn on that journey together. We don't have the holy grail or the silver bullet of how to get there, but we've created the software ecosystem around, and that's what we're pursuing.